So this current tool shelf is my John Deere 755 that we're currently in the process of rebuilding. And this is a John Deere 755 parts tractor that I picked up the other day for 750 bucks. But the big mystery here is what kind of shape is the engine in this 755 actually in. The guy I got it from said cylinder number 2 is dead. That's all the information I have. So just so we know what we've got parts-wise on this engine, whether or not we want to save this engine or not, we're going to see if we can get it running. The odds at the batteries, well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I said it's been sitting for a while. This is the 2-wheel drive version. My 755 is a 4-wheel drive. But a lot of the parts I need have nothing to do with the drivetrain, so that's really of no concern. Whenever it came off the trailer, it NASCAR'd into the old dump bed here. Step one, we'll get this hood latch off. Yeah, hood's in good shape. What we got for oil? Got oil in it. So he said in his problem solving that he took the injectors out. He determined number 2 was dead. Again, not 100% sure what he meant by that. I didn't really ask him. And that's as far as he got with it. He left the injectors out, so the cylinders were open, but it was covered with the hood. This is a Yanmar diesel. They are pretty decent engines from what I understand. Not that I know a lot about it. But there's all your tag information. This is pretty much a Yanmar tractor. They just slapped the John Deere name on it. Pretty good little tractor series. That's why I'm rebuilding mine. Well, let's put a battery on it. Give it a couple bumps with the key and see if she spins. Step 1. Oh, the glow plugs work. One of them does anyway, look at that. 2 of them does. 3 of them. Glow plugs work. I think if I get this cover off, then that'll give us access to the shaft down below. We can put a pipe wrench on it or whatever and see if we can just spin the engine by hand. Get that wheeled out. That's the shaft we're looking for. That shaft comes up, goes through that isolator right there, and then obviously into the back of the engine. Yeah, she spins free, she spins easy. Certainly no concern there, that's good. I'm just gonna go straight to where the ground strap is there, see if that gives us a little bit of a difference. The injectors. Injector pump's working, the injectors are working. Let's see if we can test the compression on them. So I've never used one of these. This is from Vevor, whatever you want to say. I bought this with my money off of Amazon. It's like 35 bucks. It is a compression tester for diesel injectors. It's just got a quick connect here on this side. Pressure gauge, relief valve. Threads match, size is the same. We just screw that down to the injector port. And in theory, we connect that quick connect, we crank it over, and this should tell us how much compression is on each cylinder. I don't know the actual tech number of what it's supposed to be. I'm more of looking for consistency. Probably snug it down to some extent, although I don't think it would have to be anything crazy. In theory, we just do that, and we hook it up and we crank, and we see what happens. This is exciting. So that's probably not great. Let's see what it is on the other ones. Yeah, let's see what. Well, that's what we're looking like. I think it'll go even higher than that yet. So that gives us a little bit of a dilemma, right? We've got the 755 project in there. with a full rebuild kit from Area Diesel Service, new OEM Yanmar injectors, the whole 9 yards. And that thing's gonna be like brand new. We got this tractor that everything appears to be functioning, with the exception that we have no compression in cylinder number 2. A ring issue? I don't know what else it would be. Perhaps a valve issue? Could be a stuck valve. I guess it wouldn't be the end of the world to pop this valve cover off and see what's going on inside there real quick. Anyway, where I'm getting at with that dilemma is I've got the old pistons and rings off that tractor, and I could, if the rings are the issue, put the old rings onto that piston and see if that fixes it and it runs. And then we have 2 running tractors. The thing is, then I would have to go spend almost $1,000 in parts, and I would lose all of my parts reserves, like the hood, the side panels, the front grille, all of the things that I'm doomed to destroy again at some point in my career of existing. It's a wild career, but it's what I'm doing right now. The injection pumps could. There's a lot of good parts on this, and when you run older equipment, it's nice to have that parts machine. So my dilemma, make this a running tractor, have 2 running tractors, or do I just rob this one for parts and then save it to make sure I can keep that one going? $35 for a compression kit though. That's pretty cool because it gave us some answers pretty quick. Really? That's what we're doing. Here. Come on. There we go. Well, I'm gonna guess that's our problem. See this? See, that is not ideal. Okay, let's see if we can fish that rod out of there. So I want you to watch. I'm going to crank this. And this is my basic, very limited understanding, and this is my guess. We're missing a rod. We're not missing it. It's down in there. So that's not a great scenario. These should be the intakes. These should be the exhaust. So without that rod, the intake valve cannot open, which means it can't pull air in to compress it all. That's my thought process. Question is, why'd that rod drop? So we're making an extended magnetic mount. This is one of the rods off of my 755. The odds we can there's our problem. They're supposed to look like that. And it is not obviously looking like that. Well, the compulsiveness in me just wants to drop another rod down there and see what happens, but that happened for a reason also. The other half is still in there. There's the competitive part, you know, that says, okay, it says, I can fix this. I just got to figure out what happened to it and why it came out and broke, you know. The other part says, why don't we fix the other one first? And then if we got some money left over, we can put some new parts on this one and have a running second tractor. Why don't we finish the first one? It's a tricky situation because I want to fix this. I know I can fix it. But I also know that one needs to be done because I got projects for it. We're going to address a life problem here real quick. This little rack here came off of Temu, and it's worked great. But I keep buying tools. I mean, she feels cheap. She looks cheap. She is cheap. But I think she'll do what I need her to do. Here were some bins there. I had a subscriber send me a box of goodies. Oh, Frank King. Not too long ago. Actually, it was a long time ago, but I'm just now getting around to getting stuff organized. I did already pull some clamps out and use it, but that's a pretty sweet crow's foot. What size is that? It's a snap-on. Holy heck. That's the fanciest thing I got. We're gonna go ahead and start stripping this thing down. We'll go ahead and put the wheels and tires on. Might as well. We'll take the old ones down to world headquarters, get the deck off there, list it for sale list, and you'll see what we're gonna get. We're gonna get the engine out and get the parts we need off the engine. We're gonna use this wild contraption. I didn't get that straight at all. That's okay. I just noticed this thing had a drawbar on it. That's great because I'm -1. There's one somewhere on the 20 acres, but I don't know where I took it out at. So we'll have 2 now. And maybe one day we'll find the other one, you know, probably with the bush hog. Oh, that's exciting. So in case you haven't figured it out, this is basically an airbag. It's an air jack. I've seen them all over social media and I thought those are pretty slick, but what would I use it for? I've got a rolling jack. And then the other day I was using my rolling jack in the grass because I don't have a big concrete pad. And I thought, man, I wish I had something that just had a big flat steel plate on the bottom that I could just slide around, you know? Look at that. I don't know. I'm not saying it's perfect for every application, but for what we're doing out here in the middle of nowhere, rated for something and I can't remember how much now. I want to say 5 tons. Don't quote me on that. It's probably on the box. That's pretty wild. Hey, that's pretty cool, dude. That's pretty cool, except I'm not on anything. So hold on, I gotta reset that. All right, that's better. Oh, these are going on the one we got. Oh gosh. And then we'll just take the ones that we took off ours. So we're taking this mower deck off to sell it as well, because I don't need a mower deck. Oh gosh. Let's see if we can get this mower deck off now of the way. It's just got what's supposed to be these quick release tabs here. Here's your gearbox. These pins back here on these arms. That PTO shaft. And this front support, which you can take off separate from the rest of it. Luckily I crammed this thing into the back of the bed, so that's convenient. They're honestly, for the year these things came out, and you consider what else was on the market at that point in time, this concept for a quick attach mower is, it's not bad. Oh no, there we go. There's the front support. Get that pin out. There we go. And as you take the wheel off. Let's take the one we take the wheel back off. Come here. There it is. Then you just slide it out in a twisty, jerky motion like that. I need to add some air to this tire here, and curiosity's got the best of me. The way the valving works, it should hold itself okay, but I want to know if a hose blew. I'm pretty sure it just holds itself up. It does, yeah. Unless you open the release valve, it's going to hold pressure. So, just curious, like, what if the air hose blew and it's working under something? You know, what was going to happen? Well, the answer is nothing. It's going to be just fine. Get some air in this tire so she's not 100% flat, and then we'll set her down as slow as you want to. Nice. I don't know if it's going to fit under that or not. Let's see. Bet it'll fit under the drawbar. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a mean looking tire. I like that. That is considerably wider too, the actual width of the tire. The footprint's probably just a touch wider too, but the actual width of the tire is quite a bit wider as well. Yeah, these are only 13. What's it say on the side of the tire? 12.5. Yeah, I agree with that. So the actual width of the old tires we had were at 12.5, confirmed with the tape measure, and the new tires say 15.5, also confirmed. So that's good. I think what I want to do next, we'll put the valve cover back on. We're going to go ahead and pull this engine and make sure we can get all the parts that I need off of it, and then we'll have a good list. The grill should just be a hefty yank. Oh. Hefty yank initiated. That's it's a couple $100 in parts right there. That grill alone. I've ran over mine several times. That is a lot easier than taking the actual hood itself off there. Yep. There's those two spade connectors there, and they'll disconnect these hoses. And I think we can pull that right out. That bolt and that bolt. Well, those are nuts, but you get the idea. And then that bracket comes off. Well, the radiator's next. If I'm not mistaken, we just take the lower and the upper off, and it just pulls out. Slightly wrong. Forgot about the oil cooler lines. We gotta get those disconnected too. So the other one came off on the other side. We're down to number 4, the last one, which is right underneath this starter. So we're gonna take the starter off there. The starter on these is a little goofy. I'll show you what I mean here if I can. So there's an all-thread bolt basically that runs from this side to this side. And you gotta get that nut off. And there's There's a nut down here. Right there, that's got to come off. And then it can slide out. And then we can get to that last mount right there. Oh, there we go. Okay. So the next step is the bolts on this isolator. There's 3 that go from this shaft into the isolator, and then from the isolator in that. It'll make more sense. I can show you the worn out one here in just a second. So I've got a couple options. We can either try to fight these, which is what I did the first time on my tractor, and that was kind of a bear, or I can follow the shaft back and loosen these bolts up here, which I already did. Spread it just a little bit, and then just slip that shaft off there, which should in theory allow me to slide the whole engine forward on the frame. Don't have to get crazy with it, just let's see. Probably ought to undo the throttle cable, undo this ground strap, and I think we're good to slide this forward. All these random ground straps. It is nice knowing that aside from that push rod, I mean, we've got some good engine components here. That doesn't mean that there's not something else going on that caused that push rod to break like that, but still. Quite a bit of parts here. I think we're coming out okay on our money for sure. I could take a look at the water pump and use that, but I think I'm just going to order a new OEM one. If we're going through the trouble of putting new pistons and rings. All right, let's see if we can slide this whole thing forward now. I think we can. Oh, I see. So because of where this sticks down behind that bracket, it's got to go up to clear. It's like there's always one random thing that prevents you from getting the exact piece you need. Then there's these brackets right here that are welded on. So I still can't clear, and I've got to take the exhaust off. But to take the exhaust off, this bracket, which is welded to the little muffler, is bolted on this side. Just like that. Comes right out. Might as well take that off. A little clever plan to taking those out to slide that off to avoid those bolts isn't going to work. One, here they are now nice out in the open, and two, that shaft's going to hit there before I have enough clearance to clear that. If you're wondering. There we go. Oh, the oil pan. I gotta go up quite a bit. Okay. There we go. There we go. All right. So here is the one that just came out of this tractor, and we're gonna run it. They're kind of pricey. And it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look brand new, but it doesn't look bad. Here's the one that came out of mine. Everything's falling apart, and if you look close, you can see where it started to kind of tear itself apart. And that has to do with, see how it ate into that rubber too? All those holes are oblong, the whole thing's falling apart. That has to do with that engine mounts and the engine mounts on the engine that broke. And it was basically just all cattywampus in there. So the shaft going from the engine back to the transmission was cattywampus, and the whole thing just started kind of self-destructing on itself. That's what we're trying to fix. This little ring here, it kind of protects the flywheel. This little piece of metal, mine, oh, I brought it out to show you, I lost it. Mine looks like this. It's all broken and in pieces, same thing. It just started self-destructing itself. So we're gonna be able to utilize that off of here, which is fantastic. I also lost this bracket as well, which is what holds my exhaust for me. So that's kind of crucial. So we can use that. There we go. Very nice. So I'm talking about the engine mounts. This is the one off my tractor that we're in the process of rebuilding. Those little tabs right there broke off. It went on the back. It was like that on, well, this side, and then this whole thing was missing altogether on the other side. So not a great thing. So there's a bolt there and there. It holds that up into place. These don't look good. These are pretty old, rotten, not great. So we're gonna order some new ones. This is not an uncommon problem though. This is a pretty common thing to happen in these little 755s. So if you have one, or any of the 55s, the 6 through the 9, I believe this is a pretty common problem for all of them. So if you have this, keep an eye on it. These aren't too terrible to change by themselves. You can undo these and lift one side of the engine up and slide these in. I think I've seen people do that. Don't quote me on that, but I believe I've seen guys do that. But once it starts tearing everything else up, then it gets a little bit more involved. So that's all we're getting off the backside. That's all we're getting off this engine altogether, honestly. So we're gonna get her slid back into place. There we go. There we go. And that's how that's gonna stay. So it looks like we get a water pump, rear main seal for this engine. What other engine will we get it for, Mike? Of course it's gonna be this engine. And the engine mounts, we've got everything we need because Area Diesel Service hooked us up with a rebuild kit. Pistons, rings, bearings, top of the line, everything we need, including, they're in here. I know they are, here they are. These are Yanmar injectors, OEM Yanmar injectors. They are a Yanmar injector dealer. So if you need injectors for your 55 series tractor or anything that's got Yanmar, Area Diesel Service is gonna be able to get those for you, which is phenomenal. So we got everything for the internal components. We got it figured out for the external components of the engine. We got some tires on and a little bit of random organization. I'm excited. I'm gonna get an order placed, but I need your guys' help with something. So I had placed an order for the water pump, the rear main seal, and the engine mounts, because I knew for sure we were gonna need that, and I didn't know what I was gonna get off this parts tractor as far as the isolator and the other parts went. So I went through Winegard's, which is who I've always used in the past, and I've never had an issue. But I did order from them, and almost 2 months went by, nothing. No email, no parts. So I called them up and I was like, hey, I need to cancel this order, I guess, because it never showed up. And they said, oh, when did you order? And I gave them the date and they said, yeah, we had a big computer glitch in that time period and it deleted a whole lot of orders. Would you still like to place the order? I still needed the parts, but I was pretty frustrated that at no point did they reach out to say, hey, did you mean to cancel this or is this the computer system? Like nothing was done to make it right. You know, there was no apology. There was no chasing their steps. I mean, I get it. Computers glitch. I work with computers all the time. I get that. Glitches happen. But nothing seemed like it was done on their end to make it right. And I didn't have the warm and fuzzies about that. And customer service is pretty big for me. So I'd like to kind of go somewhere else. But I don't know. You guys tell me dealers or John Deere stores you've worked with in the past that you've had really good luck with, and really good customer service. A fella can order pretty much from anywhere nowadays because, you know, the whole shipping thing. So I don't have to worry about necessarily going to a local dealer because I haven't always had good luck with them either in the past. So I kind of keep having to get further and further away to find a dealer that I actually enjoy working with when it comes to John Deere stuff. So if you got one you suggest, leave in the comments and let me know. I would like to get an OEM water pump, OEM engine mounts, and an OEM seal. I'd like to get actual John Deere parts for that, just because of how hard we run this machine. And let me know, all right? Okay, that's all I got. I gotta go fix the Ford Ranger and the 2500 and the other Ranger.